Good morning. Welcome back to Mishmas. We are enjoying a cup of Furtado. Let me look this up. Oh, there is a decaffeinated version of this, by the way. All right, Furtado. Intense and full-bodied. Indian Robusta brings the force in this full-bodied blend, and the cocoa and oak notes you taste result from a long, dark roast of Colombian Arabica. So it is roasted and chocolatey. Oh, it's so weird. They only have one rating and the body is 4 out of 5. Okay, let's see. This tastes like straight up coffee. What does it say? Notes. Cocoa and oak notes. This one is, this is like, I think nothing, I don't want to say nothing special. It's just like straight up coffee. It's not very memorable, let me say that. Not bad, not a bad way to start the day. But anyway, let's go ahead and open up the advent calendars for Jo Malone and Diptyque. Okay, day 17. What is wrong with me? I feel like my eyes are terrible. Oh, here they are. Here's 17. The Myrrh and Tonka. I really love this fragrance. Ooh, it's so nice. And it's even like, it's a little powdery. That definitely settles down once you apply it. I'm talking about the cologne, not the candle. Yeah, it's like a little bit powdery, but it definitely calms down. And I like it. I don't typically like powdery fragrances, but I really like this one. But it was a little dirty. It feels like wax got on there. Day 17. Okay, whoa, sorry. Right up here. Oh, do we have, yes. I love this candle. It's so great. So I have one from last year that's pretty much gone because I almost said I turn it on. I light it when my kitchen kind of smells like you've been cooking, basically. It smells like food. And this just really cleans out the air. It's like the best air freshener. This is going to be a very ranty video. I'm going to be talking about some of the worst makeup I've come across in recent times. I'm going to be talking about discontinued products that have to come back. I don't know who's making these decisions. I don't know who's driving this bus, but I want answers. I am still very salty about this particular reformulation. These are the new Guerlain meteorites. There was nothing wrong with the previous version. This felt like one of those times a company takes when they just feel like changing it up, when they just feel like fixing something that was not broken. This was not broken. So when I first opened up the meteorites, the first thing I noticed was how different they smell. And I love the way the original meteorites smell. Loved it so much that I hunted down the fragrance. They had come out with one, they had discontinued that, another, why would you do that? And then they came back out with it for a very short period of time. I was able to grab a bottle, I still have it. I've been on the hunt for violet scented fragrances ever since. Anytime Guerlain came out with a Meteorites product, I ran out and got it. If you guys just watched my declutter, you saw that I had a highlighting pen, I had a cushion primer, I had that huge 3-pan highlighting palette. Just anything, if it was meteorites, I was on it. I got it. I loved it. I loved this powder so much. I remember being young and looking at it and thinking, oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful makeup product I've ever seen. It's so special. It's so unique. I never knew how to use it. I never had enough money to purchase it. And I remember when I first dove in and I first used this, I was like, this looks a little powdery on my skin. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. And Tara Babies here on YouTube introduced me to the idea of a finishing powder as opposed to just a powder. At that time, I just thought powder was powder. But there's setting powders and there's finishing powders. There's blurring powders. You could go on and on. Anyway, this was my favorite finishing powder. And if you used a buffing brush, I always talk about Sonia G's Buffer Pro brush. It was great. You would buff it out and your skin would look like marble. It would look polished. It would look smooth. You would have the perfect amount of sheen. The new Meteorites, not only does it not smell good, I don't like it. When I first tried it, I was like, let me give it a shot. Let me give this a chance. I don't want to judge it too harshly, too quickly. I opened it up. I was like, well, it's very different. It's very different. Maybe it'll grow on me. It did not. It did not. I don't like the scent at all. It's very, what is that, musky? It's very musky. It's not, to me, I don't close my eyes and think, I'm about to put on a really beautiful finishing powder. It just smells, it's too heavy, it's too harsh. Anyway, aside from that, if I could even get over the fragrance, it's the formula, the new formula of these meteorites. Now, I tried these out for you guys first time on camera. The lighting here is really harsh, is really, really bright studio lighting that I have in this room. And so I was buffing it out and I was like, oh, well, this definitely is a lot brighter than what I was used to. But I was like, okay, no big deal. But I tried it again. It was so micro glittery and it was so shiny. It was so shiny. I was like, this is not a good powder at all. It doesn't even make for a good highlighter. It's incorrect. It is incorrect. I must request from Guerlain that they just go back to the previous formula. The fragrance, the formula, the color range that they had, whatever. I forgive you. We'll just pretend this never happened. We'll just pretend it never happened and we'll go back to the original. You don't even have to announce it because we'll know. We'll know. That's how different these are, and it's very disappointing. While we're on this powder bashing bandwagon, the Givenchy Prism Leap powder. Why did they reformulate this? And if you watched my recent declutter, I got rid of 2 of my older formula Prism Leap powders. Hurt my heart because I know they no longer exist. So I have saved one. I have it in the shade 2 Satin Blanc. Here is the new one. I don't know what they did. It's similar to what Guerlain did. So Guerlain's meteorites, again, there was some glitteriness to it, but if you buffed it out really, really well, you were just left with that really beautiful satin finish, just really gorgeous, not radiant, but just smooth and pearly. The original Prism Leap powder, or I should say the previous version, because I don't know if they reformulated it into this one, but the previous version, the one that I'm holding here, was a great workhorse powder. I felt like it was a great finishing powder. It was a great setting powder. It was a great blurring powder. It left your skin looking really satiny soft, touchable, if you will. Gorgeous. This new one makes your skin look strangely shiny in a weird, not even highlighty kind of way, but almost I don't know, it's so strange. It just looks so bad, especially under lights. You know what? Let's see if I can apply some on my face. Pat some in. And it just looks like white, chalky. I didn't put enough on. White, chalky, and nothing smooth about it. Like a real chunky shininess. It just ends up having a really weird, I don't know if you can see them. There's micro glitters in there. It's so bizarre. It's a really, really strange reformulation. Was there a mistake? I can't believe all these micro glitters now. Can you see that? So it's it's matte, the actual powder is matter than it was, which I don't like. I want something that does have that satin, soft finish, that touchable finish. This is matter, but then it's got these weird micro glitters. Maybe they were trying to use those micro glitters to make up for the mattness. I don't know. It's bad. It's just bad. It sinks into my fine lines. It looks awful. It looks really, really awful. Again, same thing, the same words I spoke to Guerlain just now, I will say to Givenchy. Please, let's just bring it back. Let's just bring it back. We'll just ignore this. We don't have to tell anyone. We'll pretend it never happened. Again, you don't even have to tell us that you reformulated it because we'll know. That's how different these are. We'll know. We'll be able to tell the difference. We'll fall in love again. It'll be like the first time. It'll be great. So those are 2 reformulations that I think fell really, really flat this past year. Really, really flat. One other fail, and I don't have it because I returned it because it was a fail, and you guys just saw me use it, were those Hermes eyeliners. It was dry and my eyelid was irritated. Not to be dramatic. Oh my God, I hurt my eye. Not even that, but it was dry enough that it was dragging across my eyelid. And, you know, after a few strokes, it was like, oh, okay. I can feel my eyelid. Something's going on. And of course, after I stopped tugging at my eyelid to get this eyeliner on, it was fine. But they were dry. They were dry. And these are Hermes eyeliners. I expect a lot more from Hermes. And I'm going to say this next statement as someone who's never put something like a makeup product into production. However, how hard could an eyeliner be to make? Like a soft, it doesn't even have to be that soft. It just needed to be softer than what they came out with. I don't know what happened. Maybe I got a dry one. Maybe I got a dry one. I'm not sure. But mine was terrible. And I got the shade bronze. It wasn't like an especially unique color where maybe the formulation went awry. I don't even know. But talk about disappointing. It's Hermes. It's Hermes. And it was very, very disappointing. I have so many great eyeliners that I could recommend to you instead of that one. The Victoria Beckham, the new Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencils, any of them are great. The Lisa Eldridge, I believe she even has a bronze color. I mean, so disappointing. And I feel like, did no one do like a quick check on these? Anyway, you guys just witnessed me trying that on in a recent video. So let me move on. All right, and since we're on the topic of bringing back makeup that's been discontinued, can we just, I'm never gonna let this go. I'm never gonna let this go, but the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel, I have this one backup left and I haven't used it because it's the only one I have left. Now, there were rumors they were getting rid of it. It disappeared for a while. It came back. People said it was reformulated. It did feel a little bit different. I couldn't really tell what the difference was, and then it was gone again. Just bring this back. I don't understand. I don't understand. And I don't even see any brow products in the line except for like maybe like a laminate brow gel or something. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand. Again, who is making these decisions? I want answers. I have since come across a few decent substitutions. I won't call them dupes. They are fine products on their own. I don't want to besmirch them by making them dupes of another product. So I've got the Billion Dollar Brows, their tinted brow gel, the Dior Onset Brow, I think that's the full name. Dior Show Onset Brow. It's waterproof. It's a tinted brow gel. I have black, I have dark brown. I actually just hauled the black one in my last 20% off Sephora haul. And then I was rooting around my collection. I was looking for this guy and I saw that I did actually have a backup in dark brown of the Dior. And then the Persona Brow Gel is quite lovely if you want like a nice light hold. And that's what I loved about this Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel. It was kind of like a pomade in that it would hold your brows in place, but it wasn't actually very gel-like in the way that I think of a gel, where it hardens, it's kind of ooey gooey. This definitely was much more of like a paste, which I think of in terms of like a pomade. And it had little fibers in there, so all I needed to do was to use this Fiber Brow Gel. I didn't need a pencil. I didn't need any other product to make my brows look more filled in, fluffier, fuller, and also keep them in place. It was like a 4-in-1 situation. These come pretty close. Like I said, I think these are very, very good brow gels all on their own, but this was the best, was the absolute best, and just bring it back, Tom Ford. Just bring it back. And while I'm on the topic of Tom Ford, what is going on with that line? Can we just talk about, now we're just generally ranting. I feel like Tom Ford Beauty, I don't know what, 5, 6 years ago? Oof, there wasn't a release that could come out that I was not like driving, speeding to the mall to get first, to try. I was so hungry for it. Maybe it's me. I've been doing this a long time. I've tried out a lot of makeup. I mean, I still love it, but you get a little jaded after a while. But I don't think so. I don't think it's me. Not in this case. because I do think the Tom Ford line has gotten very, very, what's the word, like directionless? I feel like they come out with these products here and there for these little special collections, like the Soleil Neige or whatever. We got an eye color quad. We got this like really random blush highlighter duo. We got like a lip gloss or something. And then that's it. Like they used to be so good and really, really well thought out. It just was not only so much more well thought out, but the products were so inspiring. They made you want to put makeup on. They made you want to try the products. And I just haven't felt that way from Tom Ford in a long time. Like these palettes. Do you guys remember these palettes? I had all of them, all of them. I love them. I love face palettes. I love that this had the eye color quad in the middle. You had a highlighter or bronzer. I think some of them, maybe you had a highlighter and a blush or blush and a bronzer. Anyway, these were fantastic. These were so luxe. Oh my gosh, you just wanted to use them. You just wanted to have one. You wanted to use it. You wanted it sitting on your vanity. And I just don't feel that way about Tom Ford Beauty anymore. I don't know what the deal is. I still really enjoy some of the releases that come out. Like I just got that Black Diamond eye color quad. I think it's very pretty. It's very pretty. I got a really, really nice eye look from it. I have used it on more than one occasion. Does it evoke emotion? Does it make me want to like use it? Do I wake up thinking about it? I used to wake up thinking about these palettes. Okay, you guys knew I was gonna bring this up. You know I just cannot let this one go, but the Chanel blushes. I'm gonna make it quick because I've ranted about this before, but the Chanel blushes should have never been reformulated. I don't know why. They actually just reformulated them again, and I was like, did they make them like the previous version? Are we going back? And from what I can tell, from what I've heard, I spoke to my sales associate that I buy most of my Chanel products from down in the Miami boutique. He said they reformulated them, but like minorly. He said he can't even really tell the difference. Why? We had this opportunity. We had this opportunity to go back to a beautiful, beautiful blush formula, and you didn't take it. Now, I did mention that I feel like they made it up to us with those cream to powder blush formulas that came out this past year that I really, really love. I love those. Those are so, so good. But sometimes you just want a powder blush. Sometimes you just want to stick your brush into something and just dust it on, easy peasy. And this shade, Golden Sun from Chanel, this was the bee's knees. And I've had this blush for so long because Chanel loves to tease us, right? They always come out with products and then they take them away. They give us a little taste and then they take them away. I don't know why they do that. It makes me crazy. I understand the concept of limited edition. It's a marketing tool. It gets us hungry for stuff. We're left wanting more. I get it. But they do it so often and with almost all of their products, it's just annoying at this point. It's annoying and it's frustrating. So I demand that they bring back Golden Sun and I demand that they bring back the old blush formula. I do just want to mention, because I have mentioned this, I mentioned this in my declutter, but that's a super long video, and I have mentioned this in the past, but this blush from Lancome, this is their blush subtil in shade 217 Miel Glacé. Oh my goodness. Now it's a completely different formula. The Lancome is a pressed powder. This is baked. So there's a little bit more thickness, if you will, with the Lancome. It's what I have on my cheeks today. It's a gorgeous blush. Again, I don't want to demean it by calling it a dupe of another blush, but do you see how close they are? Do you see how close? Let's do some swatches. They're not identical, but they are very, very similar. Yeah, so the Lancome is a little pinkier and the Golden Sun is a little bit more peach. I would say that is the difference, again, aside from the actual formula. But pretty close. Like once you get them on the cheeks, it's pretty close, pretty close. I have another one for Chanel, and I think the reason why I'm doing this video is because I did do a declutter. I did go through all my makeup and I was like, oh my God, so much of this makeup is discontinued. You know, I've been holding on to them because I love them. They're great. But, you know, as someone who makes content, beauty content on YouTube, it doesn't behoove me to keep old makeup or makeup that you guys can't get, makeup that is not available anymore It just doesn't make any sense. So I finally am letting go of this palette, but I just had to share with you this palette. How old is this palette? 5, 6 years old? This is the Le Beige Natural Eyeshadow Collection. The indispensable collection. It is indispensable. I would agree. And you gave it to us and you took it away. I mean, it's so mean. It's so mean of Chanel. I mean, I could go on and on. There's highlighters and everything. But this is a basic palette. Just have it as part of your line. Do you know how many of these you could sell every single year? Every single time a makeup lover hits pan on any of these shadows, they would run out and get a new one. Anytime anyone was getting into luxury makeup, I know I would take a friend and purchase this palette and have this be like their first luxury eyeshadow palette. Absolutely. I don't understand. I don't understand why you wouldn't make something like this part of your line. So anyway, they need to bring this back, like 100%. Okay, speaking of highlighters, what are we doing? Okay, this is the Burberry highlighter, another product I am just finally letting go. I'm finally letting go. This was my all-time favorite highlighter for many years running. I love, love, love this highlighter. It is so beautiful. I mean, still, and I don't, how long have I had this highlight? Look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous, and Burberry really outdid themselves with this. Now, ever since Burberry came out with this particular line, I don't even know who the creative director was, but this was many years ago, right? Again, another like 6, 7 years ago, they had the eyeshadow quads that were diagonal. That line was great. I loved it. They had like a sponge tip. It was like a concealer, but it was more like a brightener that you could use. They had a really wonderful primer. It was kind of like radiant. Anyway, they just had so many good products in that line. And they have since, I think, redone their line like twice. And just nothing seems to hit. I tried quite a number of products from this last release. I like the eyeshadow quad. I did talk about that. I have talked about that. That did show up in my favorites. Am I wearing it? No, I'm wearing a different eyeshadow. Actually, I'm wearing the Patrick Ta, the Dimension Eye Duo in Still at the Club. I'm basically just wearing that top shade all over. It's beautiful. I really love it. Back to Burberry. I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. It does feel like they've come back this time and they have a pretty like well-rounded collection already with foundation and concealer and eyeshadow. I think, is that it? Yeah, I didn't really see like highlighters. Oh, and then they have a pressed powder, which I didn't bother getting because I have a lot of powder and I don't wear a lot of powder. This is a great opportunity, Burberry. This is a great opportunity. Bring this back. You haven't done this in a really long time. This was a stupendous formula. You had beautiful color range. This one is Rose Gold number 4. And I remember having, was it a nude glow? Maybe it was a nude glow. It was number 2. That one I've decluttered. I let that one go. But let's just bring this back. Let's bring this back. She wants to come back from the dead. She wants to be Franken highlighter from Burberry. Let's just do it. Another highlighter formula that needs to come back. So Dior did come out with new highlighters to replace this family of highlighters. Actually, let me get those. These guys. They replaced this with these. Down. I do have Pink Glow and Golden Glow. I like these, and I do think there's a nude glow that I am missing, which is probably the most similar to this one that I'm holding up. Now, the shade, I'm not talking about the shades, it's the formula. The formula of these are nice. They're nice, they're fine, they do the job, you know, they're a decent highlight, but there was something really, really buttery about this baked formula. Let me do some swatches. Oh, it's like velvet. Feels like velvet. Here's the old one. And mind you, this product itself is super old. I've had this compact forever and it still feels velvety and buttery soft. Now, let me do a swatch of this Pink Glow and you'll see. And I know the shades aren't the same, but there's just like a refinement with the older one. I don't know, I really, really love these older baked highlight formulas. This one, the Burberry, I'm sure I could come up with more if I sat here and thought about it. These are good, these are good. They're just not, they're just not this. So Charlotte Tilbury also made it to this video. This quad, this Hollywood Flawless Eye Filter Luxury Palette. This is in Star Aura. She came out with 3 when she came out with this one, and these are that baked gel powder formula as well. Why? I feel like a lot of this baked gel powder formula is going away, and I'm not exactly sure why, because they are fantastic. I mean, just so good. This eyeshadow quad, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know this was in my favorites. I couldn't stop using this for a while, and she discontinued these. Why? I mean, Charlotte Tilbury isn't one that does that a lot. I mean, she comes out with like holiday collections, and you know, she does do limited edition stuff, but she's not really in the habit of doing that like Chanel or these other brands that are just like focused on limited edition products. So I don't know why we can't make this one permanent. It's so pretty. It's so beginner friendly. It's easy to use. It's a great like everyday. This shade is actually a little bit deeper, I think, deeper on the skin than it appears in the pan. So you can really create like a more dramatic look for evening. It's a great palette. Just bring it back. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why? Why? Here's another eyeshadow palette that needs to come back. The NARS Loaded palette. For the same reasons as this one. This is a great, just basic, everyday palette. And also, just like the Chanel, indispensable palette. Like, why wouldn't this just be part of the regular line? Why? It's basic enough. It's pretty neutral. It's a little bit warm leaning, like those midtones, but okay. I still love this palette, and these are just pressed powder shadows. And I think since this palette has come out, they've reformulated their eyeshadows. That's okay. Just reformulate this one and re-release it. Let's take that opportunity and re-release it. Why wouldn't you? Look, right? Like, who wouldn't want this palette? This is the same thing as the Chanel, like I was saying. If I had someone that was, you know, wanting to move from maybe like drugstore to high-end makeup, they were looking for like an intro palette, here, right here. So why not have a palette like this in your line? I don't understand. I don't understand. This hurts me to even talk about, because I'm going to talk about it in a very similar way that I talked about Tom Ford. Well, the brand that is, not this actual product. The Mothership palette from Pat McGrath. I think this is discontinued. Am I right? This one, the first 3 that she came out with. And when she came out with these first 3 palettes, it was like magic. Like, she opened up a door to another dimension. It was Pat McGrath coming out with her makeup line, and we were all, it was like a feeding frenzy. We could not get enough of Pat McGrath. And I know it's not easy to maintain that level of excitement when you're coming out with product after product after product. I get that. I get that. But I feel like we have fallen pretty far from the initial Pat McGrath magic. And just like Tom Ford, I feel like her makeup is not inspiring me anymore. I feel like I'm not exactly sure what's going on with these releases. They sent me this mega eyeshadow palette, the Luminous Legends. This is from the latest holiday collection. And look, I'm extremely grateful to be on Pat McGrath's PR list. I respect her as a makeup artist. She's top notch. She is, for editorial looks, she is #1. For runway looks, #1. So this palette, a lot of her releases lately, I just feel like, okay, we're just throwing a bunch of bright colors together and calling it a palette. I don't feel like there's a lot of thought. I don't feel like there's a lot of, I don't know, like color theory going on. When I look at a Natasha Denona palette, even if it is shades that I'm not going to use, shades that I don't even like or gravitate towards, I feel like I can at least see the thought behind it, and you can start to kind of create eye looks. You can kind of scan the entire palette and see like, oh, okay, like that. Oh, all right, I could use that and, you know, do this. And oh, that would be a dramatic look or whatever. Oh, I could use those two just for like an everyday look. I look at this and it's just a palette of like one-off shades. Like if I just wanted a purple shade, I could use that one. The formula is great. The metallics, super shiny. I think the quality of the shadows are great. I don't think that has necessarily diminished. But I feel like either Pat McGrath is dialing it in or she just has a team doing this. And I'm sorry, when it comes to artistic endeavors, sometimes you have to get your hands dirty. And I feel like Pat McGrath has not been present for the actual makeup. I feel like I could see her and feel her in these palettes, but not in her newer ones. They're just, and I'm not even talking about the packaging. I'm not even talking about the size of the pans and all that kind of stuff. And we could sit there and like, you know, criticize all that jazz. I'm just talking about like the overall feel. I just feel like the magic is a little bit gone. And same with Tom Ford. There's just not a lot of magic going on. And, you know, I could say the same for Burberry. You know, the magic is not there. I do think Chanel is still churning it out. Did you hear the news with their new creative director? That's for another video. Givenchy is still churning it out. Charlotte Tilbury is still churning it out. I don't feel like any, magic is lost, but I feel like a lot of magic has been lost from Tom Ford and from Pat McGrath, especially, and maybe a little bit of Burberry. How was that for a ranty video? Wow, I feel freer. I am hot though. I really got myself worked up. I did. Wow, this went from worst makeup to let's bring back these oldies but goodies to, Pat McGrath and Tom Ford have lost their magic. Okay, I think we've covered a lot in this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I want to hear all of your thoughts. What other beauty brands do you feel like have just really fallen flat, lost their magic, lost their vision, have lost their direction? Let me know down below in the comment section. Dying to hear your thoughts. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I will see you in tomorrow's Mishmas video. Bye.